Hey, Broken Blade. Let's hope there's no lag this time, because I restarted everything, the internet, my computer, and restarted my whole life. So let's see. I have a good feeling about this one. Thank you for coming back. And don't worry, guys. This is going to change. I'm going to be doing a overhaul of my internet because I really do need to have better internet. Right now, it's just that's that mountain stuff, you know. If it starts lagging again, I'm gonna just call it a night. I'm already seeing it. It's so annoying. And then I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna change my internet like tomorrow. I'll do it. Hey, welcome back, Edgar. Thing is, I might have been having these lagging problems before, but in my previous streams before I had this new setup, a lot of it probably went unnoticed because I was drawing right on the screen. So if it took a pause, a lot of people probably didn't even notice, honestly, because it just looks like I had hesitated or something. But but with this new setup, it's like you can see the lag more. So this is just one of the things I gotta figure out if I'm gonna take streaming seriously. This is like a good this is like a good opportunity for anyone who's gonna start streaming to watch me make all the mistakes. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my cat is meowing outside the room. He's just complaining about something. I don't know. We feed this cat like constantly. Constantly. We feed him more than you typically feed cats, and he still is just constantly like complaining that he doesn't have enough. I don't know if he wants food. Sometimes he just wants attention. I can't quite tell. I'm still getting used to cats. Like, I don't really know their deal. I don't know. But he's cute though. He's cute. I like him. He's got a cute little face. And it's nice to have a cat around. Sorry. Yeah, welcome back. Oh, and sorry, Broken Blade. But that was you. That was you that DM'd me on Discord, right? We had that exchange. You sent me that video. I think you might have been under a different name. Let me actually put a design on this. Yeah, cats they're like eccentric. They have like their own thing going on. Tomorrow I'm gonna reach out to. I have to ask my landlord who is it that supplies this internet. I don't even think I know. Hey, what's up, Jacobo? No, you're not late. I've like been struggling with this stream because my internet's having problems. So there's a ton of lag, and I don't know how much. If you guys want, I'll keep going, but I feel like it's probably frustrating to watch. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to figure out right now, like what you guys, being my audience, like what it is that you want from the stream. Like some people want to watch me draw. Some people I think care more about like chatting, like my chit chat. Just if that's more entertaining to just talk, and like so they don't care about the lag, but some people really do, probably. So you guys let me know if the lag is bothering you. It doesn't. For a lot of the people in the chat, my regulars, you guys don't really seem to care that much. But maybe I'm misreading you. Maybe I'm mistaking your patience for indifference about that stuff. But you let me know, because I'm happy to keep going if nobody cares. I have a feeling there's a good amount of people that put me on in the background while they're doing stuff. Like when I get like 300 views or something, which is not that many, I assume that a fair amount of those people are like not watching the art. They're just kind of like looking at it every now and then the vast majority of the time they just have me playing in the background while they like do their dishes. I'm like a soap opera that your mom watches when she's like doing whatever. That's a good life. I don't mind being that. I'll be that for someone. Anyways, let me know. Why is this happening? Let's see. Oh, is it because it's not the referenced one? Let's see. I don't know why. There you go. It's a game I play with Procreate where I try to figure out why it won't fill. It's perfectly fine. Just keep streaming in all caps. Okay. I hear you. It's just the reason I think sometimes it's a bigger problem than it might be is because I see the viewing count go from like 10, 20 people that it's down to like 4. And I'm like, oh, it's because people saw that it was that it was delayed or that there was a lag and like, who's this loser? Anyways, start speaking like one of those true crime podcasts. Yeah, okay, so is there anyone here who follows like my Discord? Edgar, do you mind dropping my Discord in the chat for Broken Blade? Is anyone familiar with the like true crime culture on YouTube? There's something interesting. Is that I'm really fascinated by YouTube culture. Like I really find it incredible as like a social experiment of what YouTube turned into. Like it's really amazing. Of just like, it used to be this little, it started as just like this little niche weird thing, and it still kind of is, but it's huge now, and there's entire cultures on here. There's like an entire culture of people that do like YouTube videos about, creepy things they found on the internet, or like liminal spaces, or true crime stuff, and maybe I said true crime twice, sorry. But yeah, essentially it's one of those things where you see these people find each other, like there's entire groups of true crime podcast guys who they do videos together, they do crossovers. Oh, this is like, like Lazy Masquerade is one of them, but he also does haunted house stuff. He does like ghost stories as well. He's a fun channel. He seems like he's an interesting guy. He's an Englishman living in Japan, I believe. So he does like a lot of his true crime stuff involves like Japanese crime, which is obviously much more rare. They have a very low crime rate, but when things happen, they're really bad because people seemingly culturally in Japan are like not super prepared for that stuff because they live in a less violent culture. Which makes the stories really... It's also their culture is similar enough to us that I can relate to it, but also different enough that it's like an insight into a different world a little bit. But I bring this up because there's like an entire genre of YouTube video that's just people uploading interrogation footage. Like, it's just like crazy. Oh, it looks like the lag stopped. Yeah, you see, you guys are right. I had to be patient and the lag would just go away. God bless you all. Yeah, there's like a whole thing on YouTube of, I did not know this, but police will just release the footage from an interrogation. Like, once the case is closed, they'll just be like, yeah, here, go watch this. And it's just like, you can just watch the initial interrogation of somebody who turns out to be like a serial killer, and like it's the first time they're being questioned by police. You can just see that happen. You can just watch a 4-hour interview that starts with I don't even know why I'm here to like them admitting to like killing several people. It's crazy. It's fascinating in the darkest possible way. And I for a while I go through phases, but there was a point where I was like addicted to that. Like it was like my main source of entertainment was like true crime interrogation footage of like showing how detectives break down people that they know this guy did it, so they're just like trying to get him to admit it, to confess, and not by like beating them up or anything, but just by like getting them to admit to one lie because it's an easier way out, and then it sets them up to like fess up to a second lie. It's just really sorry, pretty interesting stuff. This is too many layers. I gotta get rid of some of these layers. This is generally more layers than I like to have in a drawing. We're going for some spooky Halloween-y colors. This is starting to look a little bit like the movie Van Helsing. But I don't even care. I never even liked that movie, but I respect that it has a weird following of people. But yeah, I went through that phase where I was just like everything that was true crime, like interviews with a killer or like watching the detectives figure it out. Like that stuff is just nom, 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 nom. I loved it. Let's see. Yeah, you see, I see. Japan has a very low crime rate. Yeah, they have like a handful of murders a year, if that. But there's been some seriously terrible things that have happened there because you have a population that is really chill. So when someone has terrible intentions, people aren't even thinking about that. It's like in America, we're much more like looking around. It's just. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so Broken Blade, this is a character for Black Marrow 2. He's a supporting character popping up in this. This is the first time we're going to see him in the book at all. And he's kind of based on Frankenstein, the like Mary Shelley's original Frankenstein, by the way. Oh, you don't have to send the link. You can just drop my Discord name. And he can just DM me. It's just if you want to just copy and paste just the name of the Discord. It doesn't have to be the link. I don't know why sometimes it won't do that. Oh, you know what, Edgar? It might be because I think you're a moderator, but it may not be both of your profiles. Maybe you're a mod on the other profile that you have. Maybe that's why. I was never into true crime, but I was big into prison documentaries, lockup, etc. Well, I don't know how to tell you this, Broken Blade, but prison documentaries are definitely under true crime, I think. I think that qualifies. You're one of us. I never thought I was into true crime. I was like, I couldn't understand why people would want to engage with that stuff. I was always like, why? It's so ugly and sad and frustrating and horrible. And then it's just like, the minute I saw this, I'm going to recommend this very specific channel that does this really well. JCS. J as in Jacob, C as in Carolyn, S as in Sean. JCS Criminal Psychology is one of the coolest YouTube channels in the world. They keep getting shut down for some reason. Like as if they're doing something bad, which I don't understand because they're just doing the same thing that 20 other channels are doing. But they're just doing it really well, and it's awesome. It's basically they do the same thing with the interrogation footage of people who are killers, but Instead of doing just like here's the full 4 hour thing, they break it down over the course of like 40 minutes to an hour. And it's just, and they break it down in real time. They'll show like, okay, the detective is employing a certain trick here. This is how they're in like, and they'll break down like the body language of the guilty and show, or the innocent and show like how people behave. And the one that I've watched multiple times because it's so gripping is in the interview. So get this. These cops call in a woman that they know she's another cop. They're detectives who work specifically in homicide, and they call this woman in as a, what do you call it, like specialist to help you with a case, because she specializes in art thievery and like catching people who are art thieves, which is a really interesting, very specific thing. But they know her from when she was a uniform cop, back when she was a beat cop, right? In her 20s. And now she's like maybe mid 40s at the time of this interview, this conversation. And, oh, Ezekiel just joined my Patreon. Thanks, Ezekiel. He's one of my Kickstarter backers. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, so they call her in, and they say they want her to advise them on something. But they're like, oh, before we get to that, we just want to talk something out with you about a case that you were connected to years ago. And they're sitting down there, and they're showing her, and this whole thing is recorded. They start showing her some stuff from a murder that was never solved, like a cold case that was never solved decades ago. And they were like, you knew this woman who died, right? And you actually worked on the case. This is what they say to her. And, you know, we want to see if maybe you could help us because we're looking at this case now. Maybe you have some input, you know, because you knew this person and you're a cop, and you were like... And she's starting to get nervous. And basically, over the course of this interview, you realize that the whole thing of her advising them on some art thievery... There's no art thievery case. There's nothing that involves her special expertise. What's actually happened... They have her there because she is actually a suspect in a murder that took place like 20-something years ago. But the murder happened in the early 90s before they had DNA evidence. And now they were able to go back and see that her DNA, this cop, is all over this other woman's body. And they basically, and they have a motive that they were both interested in the same guy. All this stuff, and that basically she and this other woman had a conflict because they were into the same guy, and this woman who was the cop, back when she was a uniform cop in her 20s, straight up murdered this other chick and made it look like a home, like a break and enter, like a, you know, home invasion. And because they were able to like use new technology to dig up the evidence, they found, you know, they were able to like find who the guilty person was, and they realized, oh shit, it's this detective. And so they bring her in, you know, pretending that it's this like, oh, we want you to advise us on a case of a, you know, a stolen painting. But over the course of this thing, they're like, you did this, didn't you? You were the one who killed this woman. And and you're watching her get so nervous, and she starts spurging out. I don't have to take this from you. She leaves in handcuffs. Then they cut to the end of the episode, and they show the court case that happened like later that year, where she was sentenced to like, you know, a life sentence for a murder that she thought she got away with. And that, like, I mean, come on, it's tragic, it's horrible that happened, you know. That young woman's family, though, at least has some closure now that the guilty person is put away. But it's also like, I mean, for me, when I was watching it, it was just like immensely satisfying to see this like horrible person get what was coming to them for something terrible, that, and something that like she thought she got away with. Like that's, you know, like she thought that she got away with, and it was sad too, because as they're talking about the case, you can really get a sense of who the victim was, and the fact that she was like being the bigger woman. Like she was like not the one who was fighting over the guy. It was the other one. It was the cop who was like coming to her job and like yelling at her and being like really trashy, like stay away from him, he's mine. And like the guy wasn't interested. He was interested in the other woman because she was much more of a lady. You know, she was like, I'm not gonna fight with you. Like, just get out of my. You know, she was not antagonistic. She was, and that probably infuriated the psychopath chick more. But yeah, like when I was watching it, I was like on the edge of my seat, and I've watched it a couple times because you can see her face. Just, anyways, JCS Criminal Psychology has a bunch of videos like that where it's like particularly interesting cases, and they break it down. And the guy who breaks it down, I'm pretty sure I think he's like a former detective, or like or he's a criminal psychologist who started a YouTube channel. So when he breaks it down, he has all this like really interesting input. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a really good term for it. Did you make that up, or is that righteous Schadenfreude? Is pretty great. I love it. It is righteous. It is righteous Schadenfreude for sure. Okay, so what we got here, guys, is we got two light sources. There's going to be this green creepy light coming up from the bottom, but also there's going to be a light coming from the left because he's on a train. He's between two train cars. And there's going to be some really warm light coming from a window, I think, to his left. I'm going to try that out. You see, because that's how it looks here. Maybe I can even use this background. Can I? You're going to get to see in real time how bad this might look if I try to make this. It's not going to work, I think, because the size difference is too crazy. Come on. This was the original background I intended for this. No, it doesn't really make sense. Crap idea. Doesn't make sense. Crap. I'm going to do this as an overlay because I want the warm light to still work with the colors that are underneath. I want them to respect it a little bit and put that yellow tone on top of what we already have. And I may decide not to do it though because it might be too many light sources, and it might be further evidence of my obsession with rim lighting everything and that I don't have to do that. But I really like rim lighting things, so it's a hard struggle. It's something I'm. Oh no, but you see, but the guys, that looks great. That rim light is. Maybe that's too much there, but yeah, I don't know. I love the look of it. A rim light. I think it accents this is like. And if there's going to be a window on this side. Oh, you know what? Yes, there's going to be lanterns. I want to put a lantern outside the train. The whole point, guys, is that this is in Black Mirror Book 2. The whole thing takes place on a train, and the train is crossing through this like really dark territory of where it's filled with ghouls and stuff. So that's the way it arms itself against the dark is that it has light everywhere. So there's lanterns and fire and like sacred lights. Rule of cool. You're right, Broken Blade. Rim light is always cool. I mean, look at that. Now he looks like this is very cinematic. I don't know. I love it. But also, it accents the silhouette of the image. You know, it makes it more. It makes it easier to appreciate the design. Covered in Cheeto dust. I accept. I used to watch videos of like bratty teenagers who committed terrible crimes, or kids like getting their guilty parents in jail, and then they'd have the body cam footage of the officers. Yeah, I get that. I get what you mean. I've seen a few of those. I've definitely seen some like more trashy ones, like because JCS Criminal, it's like very classy. It's like sophisticated psychological breakdowns of the criminal mind and how the justice system works. Like, but I've also seen some that are just like from other channels are just like, watch this snot-nosed teenager go to prison for this horrible thing he did. Isn't it hilarious? and it's, yeah, it's a little bit more of a lower vibrational enjoyment, but very glad I committed to the rim light. Oops. So what I'm using right now to add this rim light is actually an inking pen. It's like the same pen I use to do the black lines. It gives it a sharpness, and it gives it a painterly feel while still feeling pretty comic booky, pretty like... Guys, I'm so glad I didn't shut down the stream just because it was still lagging, because it looks like the lag went away like a while back, and now here we are. All of us having a good time. Talking about crimes. He could be holding a lantern. His hand has a really good opening for it. Yeah, but then I'd have to put the light down there where his hand is. That would have to be coming up. But to really get the image how I want it now, it has to be from the side. And also, I want to create the sense that this is like a very well created train. So I think I want to show that the lanterns already are there, because the train is like the train is a character in this story. It's like this big old Victorian train. It's huge and it's beautiful and it's ornate and everything. So the train has to be present in every page. You have to feel like the train is special, because the whole point is that The whole point is that the train is like getting people where they gotta go, you know, and it's surrounded by ghouls and stuff. So that's what I have to say about that. Johnny's eating wings, guys. I'm happy for him. I hope you are too. Why can't it just close over this image? Here, I'm gonna switch to this guy. The answer, Edgar, is yes. There's going to be a big showdown on top of the train. There's a showdown in the train where they're like fighting through the train cars. He's going to be fighting ghouls and, you know, as always. But like these basically the story is you guys are going to get a sneak peek because you're on my stream and the other people who read the comic aren't. It's basically like these two brothers. Here, I'll show you right here. because I did a previous page on a stream. Is it still here? Oh, here. These two brothers who are very murderous bandits were like kind of like Old West highwaymen, and Black Marrow years ago he like tracked them down and chased them. He was trying to catch him, and he ended up chasing them into this place called the Dark Territory. And the whole idea is that when these guys ran out there, they disappeared in the Dark Territory, but it's this place covered with, it's like nightmarish creatures that are, to look upon them would make you crazy, so nobody really goes into that place. But they ran from Black Marrow, they ran in there, and they disappeared for years, and now they've resurfaced. And the idea is that when they were in the Dark Territory, they kind of took on the countenance, nature, and abilities of the creatures that they saw. So these two bandits, these brothers, the Simonde brothers, I believe that's the name I gave them. I did a couple of drafts of the script, but when they return, they're like monstrous, horrible creatures, and they want revenge. And Black Marrow basically is like on this train passing through the Dark Territory. It's a train that's designed to just go through it real fast, It's like an express that gets people through this scary nightmare land. And Black Marrow basically knows they're after him. He knows they're looking for him, and he's like, all right, I'm going to ride this train and let them come to me. Because he's always been looking to catch these guys. And then it leads to a big old fight on the train. And that's most of the issue, is this big showdown, this Old West, kind of Western / sword fight, with these monsters. Yeah, and the big Frankenstein-looking guy featured here is a bounty hunter who Black Marrow is like, if you help me kill these guys, I'll split the bounty with you. And they're like they have like a touch-and-go relationship, Black Marrow, and this guy's Canterbury is his name, where they're like kind of friends, but they also can't stand each other a little bit, because Black Marrow is he's like very much a hero, and Canterbury is like very morally flexible, where he's just like, I just kind of do what I gotta do to, take care of myself and get mine, as they say. Sorry, I seem to have hit the microphone, the camera. Apologies. That's what's happening in this issue. So yes, there's a fight on the train. Johnny, wash your hands! If you get to know Edgar, what you'll realize is Edgar feels very strongly about everything. There's no like light Edgar commentary. There's only the really 100% Edgar commentary. Yes, exactly. Sonic and Shadow. I saw a question up there. I didn't get to it. Jacobo says, Ryan, how did you get better at digital? It was awkward at first. I watched a ton of tutorials, and I just kept playing around with it until things improved. I don't really know if there's a specific way that I did it. I just kind of like, don't be afraid to fail. Do trial and error, but definitely watch some starter tutorials that'll help you figure out like the best pressure settings and all that stuff, because that's what I did. I can send you some, Jacobo. I think you're in the Discord, Jacobo. If you're not, you should be. If you are, I'll just DM you everything I have, or I'll post it publicly. Because there's a bunch of people I know who, after watching these, are DMing me being like, I never really used Procreate, but now I want to because you're making it look fun. Which is cool. I'm glad. I love Procreate, so I'd be happy to show people how to improve. Yeah. He's dramatic because it's funny, guys. It is. You are a humorous young man. He's a funny guy. Okay, I'm gonna start merging some layers here. Oh, you know what? I think because, okay, so I have seemingly tonight we have a much smaller stream than usual. It's only 5 of you guys. But I'm pretty sure everybody watching that I know of, at least everybody in the chat, are people I know to be male. So I would want to know what you guys think of this YouTube video I saw where this woman was saying, she's an editor, and she was kind of speaking kind of on behalf of men a little bit in a way that I appreciated, because she was pointing out that there was this article written that was like, men aren't reading anymore. Men aren't reading any of the books, any fiction, mainstream, they're just not reading anything. And she was like, well, no, men are reading. They're just not reading like mainstream stuff from mainstream publishers because they stopped creating things that really appeal to a lot of men. So a lot of men, apparently, where a ton of us are reading nonfiction, like history, which is true, because I read a ton of history at this point. I love history. And they're reading a lot of old... She described men's fiction as being kind of ghettoized, where we're just, like, reading stuff that women haven't heard of. Like, because she was talking about how the mainstream publishing industry is completely dominated by female employees. So they decide what gets published. And as a result, it's very female-centered. And that really rung true to me, because I and she was saying, like, we need to have, like, a title that says men's fiction, because it's like, she's like, there's books that are written by men that would be appealing to other men, but we don't even have a place to put them genre-wise, Yeah, no, it was just interesting what she said. Because she was even going over the cover art. I'll post the video. She goes over the cover art of modern contemporary fiction, and she's like, all of it is so feminine. It's so like gently illustrated and like soft colors and like cursive letters and stuff. And then she was describing this new book that was like, she's like, how cool is it that this book is very, very much marketed toward a male audience. It has like the cover art is really kind of aggressive. It has like a lot of detail, and it's a little bit odd, and it's like... And sorry, yawn. Yeah, it made me think a lot, because I was like, I've had a nice little boom this year of some success, where people have been reading my comics, and that's been making me happy. And I was like, oh, is some of that because... I'm wondering how much of that it might be because my work is like specifically appealing to men, Is that what it is? I thought that was true, and then... Excuse me. I looked up my backer report for the Kickstarter for everybody that bought Black Marrow. And then I looked up my metrics of YouTube, and I have like a pretty large female audience. I have like 25% right now, 30% women, which is a lot for YouTube, I think, especially for a guy on YouTube who's not making anything specifically that I'm trying to market toward women. And I wondered if it's because Black Marrow, going back to the beginning of the other stream, that Black Marrow was kind of an unintentional thirst trap. And maybe that's why so many, because it seems like a lot of women read Black Marrow, which is pretty cool. But I don't know. It was just an interesting video. I want to know what you guys think. Yeah, you see, I've spent thousands of books. You know what? Something funny? Where is it? I just ordered a book, and it arrived today. And it is... Let me put this on OBS so I can see in real time. It is... Oh, sorry. It's so hard not to hit that camera. I don't know if you can see this. It's The Art of Elden Ring. It's sorry. The glare is a lot. I'm sorry, but it's a big old art book, and I'm gonna read it, some of it tonight while I'm chilling out with my fiance after the stream. Okay, so I'm gonna have to design a lantern. I'm excited about it, actually. You guys ready? Changing it up. Yeah. 8-bit fantasy adventure music is what this is called, and that is definitely I'm gonna play this for a little bit. If you guys hate it, I'll change it, but I love it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna design a lantern that's gonna be curving down and attaching to the side of the train as a light source, and also a little bit of world building for how the train is constructed. So. So Jacobo, did you ask because you're feeling like you're having trouble getting good at digital? You're having trouble with that transition? I actually don't know about this. This isn't blowing my skirt up. It's kind of fun, but I'll try this one. A little more traditional. I know you're lurking, Johnny. I can feel your eyes on me. Don't. No, I don't like this one either. I just want some, like... Okay. Now we're all just sampling YouTube copyright-free music together. But you know what? I gotta move this. Maybe this will be attached to the banister. Why didn't I think of that? I'm so stupid. It should just be attached to the banister. It should be a. If it's a fixture on the train. Here, I'm gonna just do it myself. I'm sorry about that broken blade. I'm opening my Discord right now. Edgar, do you really not know what a torrent is? Is it before your time? Oh man. Holy shit, I feel old. If that's a sincere question. Oh, thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Johnny. No, you did fine, kid. Don't worry. Don't ever apologize, Edgar. You're a good guy. Johnny, what happened was Johnny was able to get the chicken wing sauce off of his fingers long enough long enough to type something, which is, you know, a good sign for his future that he was able to do that. I want you to picture him scrambling to do it with like his face covered in sauce. He's like typing it real quick. Possibly at work. At his job at Hooters. Dude. Okay, let's try this one. That's pretty cool. Okay, this one's fine. See, now we've got something that very nicely validates the lighting choices. You're like, Ryan, are you making a lens flare? Are you lens flaring this? And the answer might be yes. I might be doing that. And I know that lens flare has somewhat fallen out of fashion. But, you know, thanks to J.J. Abrams. His overuse of it. But here we are, trying the impossible. That's what I have to do. I don't want to delete the colors. I want to shape the colors. So this is a little trick. If you're like, it still looks very like, you know, thrown on. What I do is I'll make the eraser the same color as or the same brush rather. I'll make the eraser the same brush as the paintbrush, and then I'll go back and forth using them both on the same space to try to shape the color, shape the light in a way that looks a little more attractive, so it doesn't just look like I just popped it on. Broken Blade, was it you saying that you're not into horror, right? That's what you said earlier. Was it you or someone else who was saying that you were like never a horror guy? I only ask because I'm also, I guess I do like some scary stuff. I like ghost stories, but I'm not. I was in an interview about this. Someone had me on their like a comics podcast featuring, you know, me, just and nobody, and obviously nobody knew who I was, but it was like this, like, you know, and it was a really nice podcast. I'm not mocking it; they were really sweet people. But they had asked, like, "Were you always into horror comics?" I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, Black Mirror's a horror comic." I was like, "Black Mirror's horror?" It's like, what? And then my editor at the time, the editor I used to work with, was like, "Yeah, this is a horror book. You gotta, you know." I was like, really? I don't really feel like I made a horror book. It doesn't feel like horror to me. It feels like I'm... like there's... scary elements, but I would say it's more like it's just fantasy. Because, you know, as everyone who reads fantasy knows, a big component of fantasy is scary stuff like monsters and ghouls and ghosts and stuff. Um, yeah, but if anything, if I had to put this in a box, I would say it's. I don't even know if I would say it's dark fantasy because it's so. It's kind of a corny book, you know. Black Mirror's it's kind of a corny character, and I mean that in the best way. It's like you know, heroic and very like he's a very aspirational, you know, hero. It's all about him, like, you know, battling the forces of darkness, and you know, it never felt to me like I was wallowing. It felt like the horror element to me was always just there to accent him as a hero. But if somebody feels like it, you know, needs to be called a horror book for semantic or marketing purposes, I guess I'll take it. You know, I'm not gonna fight with people over that. Especially not while I listen to this playlist that's called, wait for it. It's called Samurai Meditation Relaxation Music. Do you guys feel like relaxed samurai? And the image is a looks like an AI image of Raiden meditating on a mountain. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. Oops. What do you guys think? Is it better with the lens flare or without? Lens flare. No lens flare. I'll put it here. With lens flare, without it. Lens flare. No lens flare. What do you guys think? Let's see how it looks without it, see if I end up liking it a bit more. Without, what are the other votes? You feel very strongly about AI? Yeah, you don't like it. Well, the chat's moving fast. I think I missed some things. Oh, thanks, Broken Blade. Wow, I missed so many things. I can't... Some of this isn't even for me. Okay. Yeah, no, I respect that too, Edgar. Especially for a guy your age, because, you know, Edgar's 13, and when I was 13, I had no damn money, so to torrent something was like the only option for a lot of... But I didn't even know how to do that until I was already like in my 20s anyway, so... I didn't really torrent things. Other people knew how, and I was like amazed at it. Oh, thanks, Broken Blade. I will check that out. Which book are you looking to have in your hands? I didn't. I must have missed. You guys were talking about manga. Jacobo says, I've done traditional all my life. I would still love to do traditional because of page sales. Could go for thousands of dollars, but if it needs to be done, digital is best. Yeah, I mean it's faster. I mean for me it's nice to be able to do like I did this whole page in like, you know, on my iPad, and it's having done a bunch of traditional stuff for the sketch covers that I just posted today on my, you know, Instagram and everything. I can tell you that it is really fun to do traditional after doing digital for a long time. Like posting my trad stuff is, and like seeing it, you know, and like doing it, like doing ink on paper. I was like, ah, I miss this. I used to do it exclusively. I did traditional, and I said I would never go digital. I was so adamant that I'd never do digital, and then after I started doing digital, I was like, I get it. Yeah, you feel like a sleepy Shaolin monk. I feel it too. The music is putting me to sleep a little bit. Okay, so you want without? Oh man, we are split on the lens flare. You know what though, Edgar? Even though I'm not okay with people stealing art and data scraping and all that stuff, I also don't think it'll be the death of artists, because I think what happens is the market. You'll see how the market tends to correct things like that. Like if people keep, because right now people are already so sick of AI crap. Every time it pops up, people in the comments are like, "Oh, I get rid of this." You know, people get angry about it. So I think what happens is you know, it didn't hurt me at all. AI didn't hurt the sales of my thing. It didn't. I think people want to know that what they're looking at is made by a person with ambitions and with creativity and who has dreams. And so if they keep trying to proliferate the AI crap and they try to steal from it, people will deal with it as it comes. We'll fight them, but mostly the way to fight that is to just keep making really good stuff that makes people remember why they like art. You know, the best way to correct that stuff is just to keep being an example of like human creativity, ingenuity, virtue. You know, because our creativity is a virtue. It's a corrective lens. You know, so I wouldn't. You know, it's good that, you know, fight this crap, absolutely, but also don't lose heart, and don't give AI too much power over your imagination. Don't let the fear of it take anything from you, because I don't know, robots are still made by people, so clearly we're smarter than them for now in a lot of ways. I mean, you look at this AI stuff, a lot of it doesn't even know what it's making. It doesn't understand images, doesn't understand context, it doesn't understand irony, it doesn't, it can't do what you do. This might be done. I might be adding more background to it, but the thing is he's on a moving train going really fast. So if I add more background, it's going to be a blur behind him, and that actually might be really ugly. And the main rule that I follow with this comic is like beauty first. You know, this is the rule of cool. Like it has to look pretty. I want a kind of gothic beauty throughout the whole book. So, yeah. Yes, make cool stuff is the answer. Making cool stuff is kind of the answer to most problems. It's really... It's my solution to a lot of things. It's just, you know... Well, alright, guys. going to be me signing off. It says only 5 people are watching, but it also says I've only been streaming for 24 minutes, and it said that it has been saying that for the past like half hour. So I have no idea how many of you are watching, and I have no idea how long I've been streaming, but I know that it's about 9:20, and I would like to go relax, take my pants off, watch a movie. I wear pants on streams, even though no one can see my lower half, because I'm a classic gentleman. Thanks for hanging out, and thank you for staying with me when I had to restart the stream because of the stupid lag problem. I really appreciate it. This ended up being my one of my favorite streams. This was so chill. You guys are so fun. So I'm glad I stuck it out. I'm glad you guys encouraged me not to shut down the stream when the lag started again, because once I was patient, it just went away and everything's great. So, yeah, I love you guys. You have a good night, okay? Oh, lastly, last thing before I go, if anybody's watching this and they're curious about my books and they want to support the art, and you want to be able to have access to like high resolution JPEGs and layered files for all this stuff, consider joining my Patreon, which is linked in the description. And like the video, subscribe, please. That'd be great. I'm going to try to stream on Friday. To answer your question, Jacobo, I'm going to try to stream tomorrow on Friday. Shouldn't be a problem. I think it's the best time to do it. Yeah, great. Good night.